health issues and you put them back in a place where they feel pressure to perform, does that work?
Yeah, I can see that end of the argument, but I think that Griffin is not going to necessarily. I mean, there is pressure in the NFL. I'm not going to deny that, but I also think there is a healing aspect to being around guys that you care about, that you've been around for 7-8 years now, and you love being a part of that locker room environment. And so I would say that that part of it outweighs the stress he might feel to perform on the field.
Yeah, well, that's a good counterpoint. Let's talk about Danielle Hunter next, another guy who has a Thielen-like streak going. We do want to thank Tony Hoagland, your State Farm agent in Champlin. Tony's become a friend and a real friend of the podcast network, sponsors multiple shows, contributes to the Minnesota Sports Fan Podcast, which if you ever want to vent, that's the show to go to. Tony Hoagland, Hoaglund.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoagland. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
So Danielle Hunter, the consensus last year was, okay, Danielle came on, he had a good season, but there's even more on the table for a guy that talented. I think we're seeing what's on the table this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And to me, the more impressive, or maybe the most impressive thing, is he's doing a lot of this without teams having to worry about Everson Griffin on the other side. So, and talking to Stephen Weatherly after the game, he said, look, they're going over to Hunter's side and helping on him a bunch, and the rest of us have to step up too. But to this point, Hunter has been the standout defensive lineman on that team. And, so now he has 6 straight games with a sack. He's got 7 sacks to this season. And that's actually second in franchise history, tied with Everson Griffin last year for most sacks through 6 games. I think Jim Marshall holds the record with 10 through 6 games. But they got 16 pressures on Josh Rosen on Sunday, and Danielle Hunter was responsible for nearly half of them. He had 7 pressures with those 2 sacks and a couple of hurries and quarterback hits. So, this guy is an unbelievable physical specimen who, he looks like he could be in a GQ magazine. He looks like he could be in a bodybuilding magazine. But yet, when you talk to people about, his workouts, he's not a guy that is, keeping up with most defensive ends. He's keeping up with most running backs or defensive backs out there. And, his speed to me is amazing. And he's got such long arms that, I think batted passes should also be added to the many things that he can do on the field. But there aren't too many tackles in this league that are just going to handle him. And so if the Vikings can get Griffin back, they should be able to take this defense to another level. Harrison Smith said he was getting sick of the comparisons from this defense this year to where they were last year, but that's where they should be if Everson Griffin comes back.
Absolutely. And by the way, Danielle Hunter, Todd Gurley is in the midst of what looks like it's going to be a 2,000-yard season, maybe easily. And Danielle Hunter ran him down from behind like it was nothing in the Rams game. That's the kind of speed he has.
Yeah, and I remember your guy, Ben Gessling, when he went down to cover Adrian Peterson's workouts in the offseason a couple years ago. Danielle Hunter was down in Houston working out there, and he still does. And I think Ben was saying, he was beating running backs, wide receivers in some of the sprints, and he's also a guy that a lot of his teammates say he never looks tired. So he's just an amazingly well-conditioned athlete.
Well, I did a piece on Daniil early in his career. I can't remember if it was a rookie or second year, and just talked to him about his background. He basically said he grew up in Jamaica, and everybody, him and his friends, they just ran around the island like doing pull-ups on trees and racing each other for no reason and swimming. And it's like, he said it was like being in the Olympics every day. Every day you went out and you just ran around and you were an athlete, and Jamaica has an incredible history of producing sprinters from a very small, sometimes impoverished island. And so there's, he acts like a Jamaican sprinter. He really does. He's incredible. He looks like a guy who gets up and runs every day. The other thing is, he's a really nice guy. And so is Stephen. I was Jeff Diamond, by the way. If you like this show, a good compliment to the show on the network is Jeff Diamond's Vikings and NFL Insider. Jeff was the NFL Executive of the Year when he was the Vikings GM in '98. He was the president of the Titans when they came within a foot of winning the Super Bowl the next year. And he's back in town, and he's doing a show on the network. He's really good. I was telling Jeff the other day, hey, if you ever want an interview subject, if you ever want somebody on, one of your deals, Stephen Weatherly is a really sharp guy.
Oh yeah. I mean, he plays like 6 or 7 different instruments. He was really into Bitcoin investing last year. Admits that this year it hasn't gone as well, which, that's the way investments go a lot of times, but he's got a great sense of humor. He can laugh at himself. He's not afraid to open up, tell you about his family. I remember when he was scheduled to get his first start when Griffin was going through everything. He was talking about his mom and how excited he was to see his mom. He was going to try to hide it from his mom that he was making his first start at home, and wanted to come out of the tunnel and have I don't know if it was a college roommate or current roommate or whatever that was always going to the game with his mom, kind of film the moment. So Stephen Weatherly he's got a tremendous personality, much more outgoing than Daniil Hunter. He's a little bit more quiet, reserved, won't let you in as much, but both of them just really nice guys.
No doubt about it. So the Vikings defense was able to pressure a rookie quarterback. They're going to have the same challenge this week. Did you learn anything this week about how they handle rookies who are not named Josh Allen?
Well, I went into the game thinking, they're going to blitz Josh Rosen an awful lot. And in the first couple of drives, they did it more often. But after that, they did a lot of just showing the blitz and bluffing the blitz and having a lot of linebackers or defensive backs near the line of scrimmage and then backing out of that. And so I think as much as anything, they confused him rather than sending the house at him all the time. Now, there was one play where I think they sent 8 guys after him, but most of the time it was bluffing and dropping back, and I think it really tested his mental mind, his ability to process things on the fly. And everybody was talking about coming into the draft that Josh Rosen might be the most ready to play. Maybe it's Sam Darnold, but both of those guys were, 2 of the most polished of the rookie quarterbacks, and now they've got them, in back-to-back weeks. So I'm really curious to see what the game plan is with Sam Darnold if they try to do the same thing. Now, I think Darnold's had a little bit more experience at the NFL level now, a couple more games than Josh Rosen. So is he more wise to those sort of things, or are the Vikings able to get to him and make him nervous in the pocket as well?
Reminder, October 25th, about 5 o'clock, leading into Thursday Night Football. We'll be at Mississippi Pub doing the Viking Update show live. Also, if you like Mississippi Pub, if you live down in that area, they have all-you-can-eat fish fry on Fridays during October. They have $6 burgers, 11 to 2 every day. They have a daily happy hour with appetizer and drink specials, and they've been a great host and a great partner for us. They're really cool to deal with. And again, beautiful river and marina views, laid-back atmosphere. There's always something going on there. Check out Mississippi Pub, talknorth-com and come out and see us next Thursday. I'll tell you what, I'll try to bring something that would make for a good giveaway. I don't know what it is yet, but we'll figure out something of value that we can give away to somebody who shows up and maybe ask a live question out there. And also a reminder, bitesquad.com, download the app, Talk North, one word, for your first delivery free. The defense was very good on third down and very good at limiting big plays. And I have to guess that was kind of what they wanted going in.
Well, yeah. I mean, you look at what the defense was doing so early in the season, and, probably through the first first four games anyway, was giving up big plays, busted coverages, confusion in the secondary or in the back seven. And, on Sunday, they only gave up 3 plays over 20 yards, which was amazing considering what they had been through. And, only 2 of those were deep shots. And one of them, I would argue, really should have been an interception for Harrison Smith. He just kind of got turned around and off balance a little bit. So, the fact that they didn't have Andrew Sandeo in there, I don't know if that was one of the differences or not. But, I think George Iloka played very well. Anthony Harris ended up getting an interception. And it was about a 75-25 split on the snaps. Iloka got most of them, filling in for Sandeo. But they also, they rotated things around pretty well, too, where J-Ron Kearse is getting a number of snaps covering nickel receivers, Mackenzie Alexander being the main nickel guy. But, to make any team, whether you have a rookie quarterback or not, go 0 for 10 on third downs is really impressive.
No doubt about it. Special teams were fine yesterday. Sherrills is always dependable. And, the small picture was Bailey missed a couple of field goals in a close game and people panicked. Big picture, he's 8 for 10.
Yeah, I mean, to me, those field goals looked a little strange. It almost seemed like he was getting under the ball, like they weren't driven toward the post. Yeah. But, you can't complain with the results that he had. Didn't miss one there. I thought the most impressive part of the special teams on Sunday was their coverage ability on kickoffs, because, you look at what the Vikings had with Daniel Carlson for all of the flaws that he had in Green Bay. He was a heck of a kickoff guy. Bailey doesn't have quite that leg, but they seem to be covering it better. And as long as they're not giving up the big touchdowns, they pinned Arizona inside the 20 a couple of times and really did a good job with their coverage. So all over the place, I was impressed with the special teams. The one thing I'm kind of curious to see now, the expectation for me would be, okay, they lost Mike Hughes. We're assuming that it's a season-ending knee injury at this point. Likely Marcus Sherrills is going to be your kick returner now. Probably not that big of a deal, but I'm curious to see if teams maybe go for the higher, shorter kicks and challenging him, whereas Hughes has the deep speed. Sherrills could give them some good field position, out at the 35 if he's returning those. He just doesn't have that big, long 100-yard breakaway speed that Mike Hughes does.
Right. It is a fascinating season, both across the NFL with the Vikings and in this division. And you look at the division race: Chicago 3-2, Minnesota 3-2-1, Green Bay 2-2-1, Detroit 2-3, and pretty much every team has had a bad loss, and every team's had an impressive or surprising victory. To me, the only thing that surprises me about the standings is, I guess I would have. If Chicago was 2-3 instead of 3-2, I think I would feel like this is a very predictable outcome. Khalil Mack, making a difference, helping that team get off to a fast start is really kind of the X factor in the division right now. But even then, the Bears with Khalil Mack just lost against Brock Osweiler and the Dolphins. So I don't know what to think of this race right now.
No, I think kind of the takeaway from the league as a whole for me is that you have the Rams and you kind of have the Chiefs and the Patriots. And besides that, are there any really dominant teams at this point? And I think what we see a lot of times is teams that you think are dominant at the start of a year, after, a third, a half of the season, there are some teams that can sort of figure them out and give them a run for the money. So my expectation would be, Mitchell Trubisky, can he be consistent throughout a season? I don't have as much trust there that's going to happen. Green Bay, I think you still have a lot of concerns for them. Some defensively,